It's my cue to go on mute.
I know we've been doing our church service on recording, and today she asked people who was God, and I just quick turned my mute on. I don't want to be recorded on Facebook trying to explain who God is. Anyway,
at the bottom of your screen, there's a record button. Oh, good, you got it. Sorry.
I think I do. Do I?
Yep.
Okay.
Julie, I can't think of the name of the cemetery, but I could drive there.
Okay. Well,
It's just outside Woodland. I think it's like a couple miles east of downtown Woodland.
Downtown Woodland.
Yeah,
That's,
to the extent that there is a downtown
that's
Woodland.
kind of hyperbole right there.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's got an actual name, but it's basically the Woodland Township Cemetery.
Okay.
And I can look up the name. I have it right here, but and I can share some photos of it if you'd like with you, Julie, to add to your website.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be great. The Woodland.
It's a beautiful place, and I
Oh, it
told
is.
Julie that I would recommend anyone going. It's on a country road, and there is a woodland right next to the cemetery that is preserved in perpetuity as woodland, donated by a local family number of years ago. So it's lovely, especially in the spring.
All right. Well, something to go on a field trip for.
Yeah, exactly.
And then this is the chart that evidently Brian helped put the chart together. Why don't I let you start talking, because you will understand this better than me.
Right. Well, we put my dad, Richard Whitwer, Christian, and your dad, Daniel Catherman Christian, at the top of the chart. And then every cell or square that's blue is the known Christian connection, right? Omar and my grandfather Forrest have the same grandfather, Lewis. And Lewis married, if you go left, Susanna Kaiser, and that's from that union was born Forrest and our Uncle Dave. And from Lewis's later marriage to Anna Catherman, that's the union that produced Omar. So
Okay, so there's a Dave in here that would be Forrest's brother.
yes,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, this could obviously be much more complicated than it is, but Brian helped me sort of get it to be a little bit more easily understood.
Yeah, that's great.
So the cells that are sort of pale pinky orange are the Catherman, really the Catherman connection. So my dad's mother was Nora Whitwer, and her mother was Anna Broombaugh, and her mother was Anna Catherman, was Susanna Catherman. And guess what? Susanna Catherman and Anna Catherman are sisters. So absorb that for a moment.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
Give me more than a moment, please.
Yes, right. Thank you. Yeah.
Could you repeat that one more time? We're all like, what?
Yeah, I
I
were.
know. I had to repeat this for Brian a few times too. Anna Catherman and Susanna Catherman are sisters.
But who are they?
Huh? What, Brian?
Who are they married to? Oh, okay, sorry.
So Anna Catherman was Lewis Christian's. You can't see me pointing, right?
No.
Yeah. Where do you want me to point? I'll try.
Lewis Christian and Anna Catherman were married, and they produced Omar, who produced your dad. Anna Catherman is the daughter of Anna Christian and Jeremiah Catherman. Right, thank you, Julie. And Susanna Catherman married Abraham Broombaugh, And their daughter was Anna, and her daughter was Nora, and her son was Richard, my dad. So Susanna Catherman, way back up here at the bottom, I should say at the bottom of the chart, left, right, is the oldest daughter of Jeremiah Catherman and Anna Christian. Your great-grandmother, Anna Catherman, was their youngest daughter.
Hmm.
And
And
they were how many years apart?
They were about 30 years apart,
30.
20, 28 maybe.
And there were how many kids?
13 little Catherman kids.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Poor Anna Christian.
No kidding.
I
Now,
know.
Anna Christian, who married Jeremiah, we don't know, but we don't know that there's any connection between that Christian and then the
And
Christian,
Louis.
Louis Christian, right?
Right,
You know
right.
of no connection.
There probably is because they were all Church of the Brethren, but I haven't been able to piece it together. And the footnotes down here, when you get to be able to read them, you'll see that we have Louis Christian's heritage back to Pennsylvania, to a Lewis or Ludwig in 1775, I think. I don't know where in Pennsylvania. I should look right here in Philly and see if there's anything here in the records. But Anna Christian's heritage, we can trace back, and I haven't done this primary research at all, but plenty of other people have done that research. We trace her heritage back to Prussia. And the Church of the Brethren members, Church of the Brethren was a pacifist Protestant sect. And they pretty much had to leave Prussia because of religious persecution. Jeremiah Catherman, Anna's husband, was he was a preacher in the Church of the Brethren church. And about a mile and a half from my house, in a creek, there is a monument, a small monument, commemorating the very first baptism of the Church of the Brethren in the USA, in the colonies, actually, because it was 1723 on Christmas Day.
Wow.
Can you imagine being
Wow.
full body baptized on Christmas Day?
Oh, wow.
No.
So
If it was immersion.
it was full, yeah. They call them, some people call them Dunkards because they really, they were full body immersed. And Dad was baptized in the Church of the Brethren in Woodland Township. And that's the kind of baptism he received. But it was a tank in the basement of the church. The Church of the Brethren in the colonies was founded here in Philly. And there are probably lots of records that I could look for, and I just haven't done that work yet, but I'll stop now. People can ask me any questions.
This is hugely helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
Wow.
see that there's an extra generation on the left because of the age difference between Susanna and Anna Catherman.
Right. That's why Anna Catherman takes up 2 squares.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of links with Brian and I too, because Brian and I are the same age, but he's the youngest of 4 kids and I'm the oldest of
That's
5.
Exactly right. Exactly
Exactly.
right, Julie. Yep. That's
Yep.
really right. Yep.
Hey, Anna Christian, your namesake had 13 kids, just saying.
Yes.
I know. I started laughing, thinking this better not be some sort of foreshadow because that's real mean.
You're just getting started, right, Anna? Yeah.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about this as I was getting ready for this. I went back over some of my charts. And you will notice I mean, it isn't on this chart, but you will notice, well, maybe for you, on your side it is, Louis and Anna being the generation right under her mother who had 13, she only had 2, right? My grandmother only had 2. Anna Broombaugh, Nora's mother, only had 2. So,
If my mother had had, I wouldn't have had any. Oh, geez.
Wow, 13 children.
and well, Lewis's mother also had 13 or 14 kids.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And I got a comment on this particular chart here. Dad's handwriting, and first of all, Susan, thank you for all your commentary, your love for putting this together and helping us all with some of the pieces. This particular chart Dad shared with us years ago, and I always got a kick out of his handwriting just being so impeccable.
Right. And he's a doctor, right? You wouldn't expect that at all.
He couldn't have been a doctor.
So this David Christian is not the one you were talking about before. Dave, is this the one you said, David is not on this chart, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
this David would have gone right here?
He would have been, yeah, up higher than Lewis. Yeah.
Oh, here, okay. So, okay. So he had a brother named David though, right?
Yeah.
So there was a David as his dad, and then he had a brother named David.
Right.
But that does not follow in Dad's line.
Yeah, he didn't go back that far.
Okay.
There is one interesting
okay.
twist on the David Christian connection here. So there's a David Christian connection has gone on 6 generations from uncle to nephew, that name for
Yep.
6 generations. It ended with our David Christian, our son David. He
Yep.
would have had to have had we would have had to have had another son who would have a son and named him David to be able to do that. But obviously we killed it. So
There's still
he's
time.
got that. That's our claim to fame. We killed the 6 generations.
We were told we could only have 2 kids.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. That's what Ann Arbor will do to you.
That was before we even moved to Ann Arbor.
That's
So
true. Hey, Susan, Sister Susan, I wanted to ask you about something. I really don't know how meaningful this is from a sort of genetic standpoint or from the standpoint of how close we really are related to Dan Christian and all of his kids that are on the call here. But you had said something in an email, I think it was, or maybe it was a phone call, that we were connected not only sort of paternally through Lewis Christian,
Right.
but also maternally
Right. Through the women.
through the women.
Right.
And I don't know. I look at this chart and it's kind of hard to really understand
right,
how
it's the sisters.
how that but how that affects any closeness or distance that we have as relatives. But I just thought it was an interesting comment that you made about that.
Well, we're just connected, 2 ways. So we're cousins for 2 different reasons.
Mhm.
Couple cousins.
Yeah.
Same in my family.
And we're really closer connected through the female line than the male line because
Yeah, that's what gets me. That's what gets me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's hard to sort of fathom from the chart, but
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know what I could do. Make it.
no, you probably couldn't do anything.
I think you did a great job.
Yeah.
I think you did great. Yeah, but so there's more information down here, more towards the bottom, but this is more on Dad's side of the family. That's Grandma Christian side of the family. But then there at the bottom, there is one more thing I thought you'd find interesting, which is this chart of the Cathermans and the Christians. Well, I think that's pretty much what you just said about coming from Germany,
Right.
settling in Pennsylvania, then moving into Ohio and Michigan.
Yep.
It's a great chart.
What do we know about some of their, how
Never
they
seen
made their
Clam Lake
livelihoods?
Cadillac.
Were they farmers?
They were farmers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
farmers. Okay.
Something in this chart is catching my eye here. On the left side, underneath Michigan, it lists a bunch of towns, which are all sort of increasingly growing near and dear to my heart. Northport, Suttons Bay, Traverse City, Clam Lake, Cadillac, where I now live and where I'm connecting to this call from, and then Tustin and Manton. I'm just curious if anybody knows about the connections in those towns.
Yeah, that was my grandma Christian here. So her name was Gertrude Swanson, Emily Gertrude Swanson Christian. And she was born in Manton. And then she had a lot of relatives, like the Garthies were up in Northport and Suttons Bay and Kaselka. Does that name ring a bell?
No?
Evelyn Kaselka, her family, he owned a grocery store. That was her dad right here, Reynolds Swanson. He owned a grocery store in Manton. And this is my grandma Christian.
I always said, people would ask my middle name. I said, well, it's Daniel Swanson, but I said, I have no tie-in with the frozen food company. Too bad.
Right.
Hey, you'd be rich.
Yeah.
Reynolds Swanson. Huh.
Yeah.
So the Swansons didn't pass through Philadelphia, but many of the Swedish people did. And so there's a Swanson Street in Philadelphia. And there's a bunch of old Swedish,
Julie, go back to that bottom, would you, down the bottom? Right there, thanks. So I was studying this too, just like Barry was saying the other day, and the migration, it's interesting, so many small towns, you're not seeing a Detroit or a Columbus or a Chicago in here. A lot of farm towns, near ports, fishing, whatever it would be. That's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, not so much for Tustin and Manton, but boy, those other towns are right on Lake Michigan, and it's prized real estate in those places.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Would seem to make sense that if they came over here and farmed, they were probably farming families in Europe, right?
yeah.
And so they probably were looking for more rural properties.
And to your point too, Brian, that they were coming by ship, right? It looks like they would go through the St. Lawrence Seaway or around the Great Lakes, or was that, do we have any idea of how they got there? Yeah, it'd be interesting just to poke around.
Yeah.
But again, Susan, thank you for all your help with this. And Julianne, you've done such a nice job of putting this together. I was poking around in there and I saw that picture of Anna that you just zipped by a second ago. And I was trying to look at any family resemblance to my daughter, Anna. And I was like, well, I guess I guess so.
Julie, will you scroll up one more time to the family tree so I can quick show Bob? Thanks.
Yeah,
Susan Mary,
Yes.
was there anything that when in your research that surprised you?
Well, yeah, what surprised me was that we have more of a history of the Christians through my dad's mother
Mhm.
than we do through his father, who was named Christian,
Okay,
Mhm.
yep,
right?
okay,
We can take that history back much further.
very cool.
That surprised me.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that our father, Richard Whitwer, had Catherman genes from two different, right, pathways.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait, is it or just because Lewis Christian to Forrest Christian would have only like that wouldn't have had the second Catherman?
yeah, I don't see the Catherman connection to Lewis. There might have been one, but I
Oh,
don't,
no, that's right. You're right. No,
I don't
that's
have
right.
The second connection is.
That's
the-
right.
The father.
You're right.
the
There's still just
grandfather.
one. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Oh,
there's a lot of history written about the Broombaugh, who was Susanna Catherman's, she married into the Broombaugh family. When they came from Germany, they were Brombach. There's been a whole book written about them. One of the governors of Pennsylvania was a Broombaugh. And a number of years ago, I went to Huntington County, which you'll see in Dan's graphic there, that Huntington County in Pennsylvania was one of the places that they settled, the Christians and the Broombaughs.
in Pennsylvania.
In
Is that-
Pennsylvania, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
I haven't been to Union County, which tends to be more where the Christians were. But I'd like to go there sometime.
So who ended up in Ohio? Like, do we have some relatives in Ohio then from this chart?
From this chart, well, Anna, let's see.
I thought there was Whitworths in Ohio. I don't know.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be on Dan's side.
Right, that's true.
So Jeremiah and Anna both, I think, were born in Ohio. But they moved to Ohio for better farming territory, probably.
Moved to Michigan.
Did they move to Michigan?
Oh, I thought you meant to say move to Michigan. So
No,
you
they moved to Ohio and they died in Ohio.
okay.
Darke County is where all of them lived. Dark with an E on the end. Greenville is one of the main towns there. I visited my grandmother, Anna Broombaugh, there with my dad when I was about 12, maybe. Anyway.
Oh.
And I just made a fascinating visit to visit the Whitwer family, who was my grandmother's father, my dad's grandfather, to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. So that was fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing, but it doesn't mean we have to, stop sharing the screen, but it doesn't
That's
mean we
fine.
have to stop talking about it. I really appreciate the explanation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See what I mean by we're connected like this.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Thank
So
you,
now,
Susan.
Dan, you're going to remember that forever now, right?
It's recorded.
Yeah.
I appreciate you listening because many people in my family just don't have the attention for it.
It is.
Thank
It's
you.
hard to follow. Yeah. you
Very
did a good job.
interesting to me.
But you know what's interesting to me though too is, the strange thing about life is it seems like by the time we grow old enough to ask our grandparents and our great grandparents the questions that we'd like to ask them, they're not around. And
I
so
know.
we can't ask